teach math, Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus, and Calculus at Milpitas High School in the Milpitas Unified School District. Milpitas High School has about 3,000 students on campus, and I teach in a program called the Digital Business Academy, and we serve about 200 students. We focus on computer applications and graphic design and cross-curricular teaching. This summer I worked at Synopsys in an IT Global Solutions Center where we were helping solve computer issues for customers throughout the company. And there was a couple things I noticed. I used spreadsheets quite a bit, and I noticed that there was very little paper involved in the company. We would do everything electronic. And I started thinking, well, in Milpitas High School we use a lot of paper all the time. So I started doing research on the environmental aspects of paper use. And as I dug deeper, I thought, oh, this could be a really neat math project. So this lesson is geared around linear equations. And in the past, we might have learned what slope means, learned what y-intercept means, learned how to graph equations. And it was all just paper and pencil mechanics. But now what I'm asking students to do is go research, collect data, and use Excel to make formulas, and transfer that data into linear equations, and then interpret the meaning of those equations to make predictions for the future. So they're becoming, in effect, scientists.
Well, we started off by having to use a piece of paper and make a graph for each period of the day and how many pieces of paper we used that day in each period, and we did that for a whole week.
The PowerPoint that I was showing was just the graphs and the linear equations that were gradually increasing every day, and we determined how much paper we would use on average, how much paper we would use in a whole school year, and we found out how much paper or CO2 or H2O that the whole student body would use.
The lines on the graphs were really astonishing. They kept on rising steeply due to the amount of papers used per day, the amount of energy, so on and so forth.
I've noticed that my students, they've developed more of an awareness of all the environmental impacts of paper use, and they'll say things like, oh, make sure you recycle this now, and it's kind of neat to see that. Now my students have portfolios of their work that they're going to save throughout the whole class, and they can showcase this. When they apply for a job, they can say, hey, I made a website, and this is the math work I've done. We're using the web building and spreadsheets and the digital aspect that's used in companies today.
The most surprising thing about this project that I found out was that we use so much CO2, we emit so much CO2 from making paper, and we use so much water to make the paper.
We found how shocking it is, really, like how much just resources are used and how much it's really wasted to make paper, because you wouldn't expect it out of one sheet of paper, but if you really count it up, then it's like, wow.
It's just cool how we can relate our math skills to other things in life. It's like cool.
Math for me has been something like, why do I need to learn this? When am I ever going to use it? And doing this project, I've learned why math is so important. It has taught me why people use math. For example, calculating the amount of trees cut down, CO2. All this data help us create a better world and overall better way of life.
I feel more confident as a teacher knowing that I've worked at different companies, seen what tech skills are needed and used. That way when I talk to my students, I can say, hey, we use this at Intel, we use this at IBM, and this is directly going to help you in the future.